By way of introduction, my name is Kevin Babcock. I'm a developer evangelist for Telerik. I've been with Telerik for about 7 months now. I work primarily with the ASP.NET reporting, Silverlight, and Open Access ORM product lines. So I'm kind of new to reporting myself, but as I've learned reporting and got it started using the Telerik's reporting tool, I've been very impressed with this product, so I'm very excited to talk to you guys about it today. So let's go ahead and get into the slides. Just a few slides for you today. I'm just going to give a really quick talk about kind of what reporting is, um, what reporting is, or what the reporting tool is that Teller provides, kind of some of the features, how it's different than some other reporting solutions. Then we're going to look at demos, a lot of demos. So this is going to be mostly demos. And then afterwards, I'll tell you what you can expect from Telerik reporting in the future, and then we'll open it up for some questions at the end if there's time. So let's jump right in. So introduction to reporting. What is reporting? There's really no hard and fast reporting solution definition. It can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It can be a complex server product with complex licensing models. It can be kind of a proprietary black box solution, maybe a tool that's integrated with some other custom software, which I guess is kind of the category that Telerik reporting falls into. But regardless of what a reporting solution is, I think that a lot of people will agree that a report can generally be characterized as having uh, some qualities that will share some qualities. All the reporting tools kind of have these same qualities. They all generate reports. They all have a layout that's based on a set of rules, data that can be pulled from a data store. So like SQL Server or MySQL or some kind of a data store. And basically they all apply analytics in some way to the data so that the data is represented in a fashion that makes it valuable to those who are reading it. But I think in order to kind of understand what a reporting solution is, we should probably also talk about what a reporting solution isn't. So a reporting solution is definitely not a Word document. It doesn't require every page to be manually designed. It instead uses rules and renders according to those rules on every page. It's definitely not intended to be a flexible page designer. It can be very flexible. It can render many types of report items, but it'll render those items according to the report rules. So for instance, you can't insert an item in one place in a report and then insert a different item in another place or in the same place on a different page. So it's not like a flexible page designer. It's definitely not a data grid. Data grids are great. They're interactive tools for displaying data, but they don't offer the analytics that reports do, and they're definitely not designed in a paper-oriented manner, kind of like reports are. So, so why are reporting solutions important? Well, I guess we'll probably all agree, if you're here today, you consider reporting solutions to be important. Um, Businesses these days are collecting just tons of information, tons of data, but most of this information it goes unused. Businesses aren't using it, and if they're not using it, then it delivers no value to the business. That data that businesses collect can only deliver value if they have some mechanism by which they can transform the information into knowledge that is relevant to the decision-making process, and that is where reporting solutions come in. So businesses that don't engage in this process are really failing to maximize the effectiveness of their business. So this is where Telerik steps in. Telerik has created a unique reporting tool. It integrates very tightly with Visual Studio. It provides a WYSIWYG designer that's very intuitive. It's in a workspace that we're all familiar with, Visual Studio 2005 or 2008. It provides a designer surface that simulates graph paper, so it's easy to drag and size things around on the page. It's much simpler than, say, a huge product like SQL Server reporting services. That is just a behemoth of a product. And while SQL Server Reporting Services is a great product, it is very full featured, it is very rich. It can be a little complex to set up. It can be there's a lot of things to it that you have to learn and understand in order to use it well. Telerik reporting, on the other hand, can be installed in under 5 minutes, and as you're going to see in a minute, you can really have a report generated in another 5 minutes. So you can go from no installation at all to a deployed report in about 10 minutes using our reporting tool and our wizard. So it's a very easy to use tool, but don't let the ease of use fool you. It's very feature rich at the same time. So we've got extensive data source support, SQL Server, you can bind to business objects, XML, web services, and the list goes on. We have a couple of very easy to use wizards. We have the report creation wizard, which will let you create your reports without writing any code. You can do it in just minutes. It's 6 or 7 screens, that's it. We also have conversion and upgrade wizards. So the cool thing about the conversion wizard is I believe it's one of the only Telerik products that offers a conversion wizard. It actually will go through your Visual Studio projects after you install a new version of Telerik reporting, and it will upgrade all of your assemblies, all of your references, so that you are using the most current version of Telerik reporting. Also offers a conversion wizard that lets you convert from a couple of different reporting products like Crystal Reports, which we all know and love. And also there's DevExpress offers their own reporting tool. We offer the ability for customers who have switched from them to us to migrate their reports that they've built using their product to our product. And it's a very easy to use wizard, and it comes in very handy for the customers that need it. You can also in our reporting tool, you can export to just about any format: PDF, Excel, rich text, just about any image format. There's report viewers for both Windows and the web, which is a very cool feature. So with going back to SQL Server Reporting Services, their report viewers, it works. You can view the reports in Internet Explorer. Definitely, it works great in Internet Explorer. You can also view it sometimes in Firefox, sometimes in Opera, sometimes in Safari, but but not all the features work across all browsers. So it doesn't support all browsers. Telerik reporting does. Telerik reporting works well in all the major browsers: Safari, Opera, Firefox, IE, you name it. And the cool thing about Telerik reporting is if you bundle your reports into a single assembly, you can deploy them to, or you can reference them from your other projects, whether you're building a WinForms app or whether you're building an ASP.NET app, and you can deploy the same report to either platform, to the platform of your choice. So it makes it very easy to reuse your reports in multiple ways. So let's jump into the demos. I've got a few things to show you, and I know that's what we're all here to see. So we'll jump over to Visual Studio. And first, I'm just going to create a new project, a class library. I'll call it Report Library. And let's go ahead and change the solution name to Reporting 101 CS, since I'll be doing this in C#. All right. Go ahead and pin Solution Explorer here. We'll get rid of this class. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how to open up, or how to create a new Telerik report and just get some content into it. Get some content into it. We're not even going to bother with connecting to a data source right now. So first we'll go to Add New Item. We'll go down to Reporting and add a Telerik report. And one thing I forgot to mention, if you haven't noticed, the reporting team at Telerik just released a new service pack to Telerik reporting yesterday. It just dropped, so if you have subscriptions, or if you're a trial user, definitely go to your client.net accounts and download the new Service Pack 2 for Q3 2008. I've just performed a fresh install here on my machine, so I'm already using it, and it's looking great. So anyways, we'll go ahead and call this Hello World Report. I am going to cancel out of the wizard. I'll talk to you about this in a minute. And I'm just going to add a couple of items to my page here. So we've got 3 sections. We've got a header, a detail section, and a footer. So I'm just going to grab a text box, right header, details, and footer. And then I'll also add one final text box to the bottom of the page here, and I'll throw in my own custom expression to the text box so that we can display some page information. So page number of page count. So you can add your own custom expressions to display kind of some report metadata like report pages, or and we'll go more into this in one of the later demos. But some of the expressions you can add to your reports are very cool. I have fun kind of creating my own expressions. So anyways, just want to get some content here into the report, and we'll jump up here to the top. You'll see that at the top of the designer there are a couple of extra tabs called Preview and HTML Preview. The first is offers a preview in a Windows client app, and the second offers the preview that you would see, it displays a report the way you would see it if you were to deploy it to an ASP.NET application. So let's go take a look at those real quick. Every time you preview it, goes ahead and compiles the application for you. As you can see, we have a very simple report that no one would ever make for real here generated in our preview, and we have our page 1 of 1 here in the footer. And then if we jump over to HTML preview, we'll turn off that IE warning there. You'll see that we get the same report generated there. So very easy and very simple to kind of get some content into your report. But that's not what we're here to see. So let's jump into a real report. So I'll add a new one here to the project. I'll call this product list, and we're going to actually connect this to a database. We're going to use the Telerik Report Wizard, and so I'll go ahead and click next here. We're going to be creating a new report, and like I told you before, you can convert from an existing report if you want. These are the converters that are available: Active Reports, CRISPR Reports, and then, like I mentioned, Extra Reports, which is a competitor product. But today we're going to be creating a new report. We're going to be creating a new data source. As you can see here, if you've already created a data source, you can definitely share it for separate reports. But we haven't, so we'll create a new one. You can bind your reports to business objects or to a database. In our case, we'll be binding it to the AdventureWorks database. I've already got references to connections to the database set up here, but if you wanted to add a new connection, you just go to the new connection wizard. And most of us who develop in Visual Studio are pretty familiar with this wizard. So you can just add your server name and go and select your database name from the drop down, and you'll be good to go. But I've already got that here, so we'll connect to AdventureWorks. We'll call the connection AdventureWorks connection. Click next, and then we need to provide some SQL statements to go and retrieve the data that we want to show in our report. So you can either type the SQL statement manually here in this text box, or you can use the query builder. So I'll go ahead and use the query builder. Let's see, I'm going to get the man, there's so many tables. Why did I choose this database? The product inventory, the product photo, and the product photo. I'll go ahead and add those. Close out of this. Let's maximize so you can all see what's going on here. For the product, we'll go ahead and select the name, the product number, and let's grab the reorder point. For the product inventory, we'll select just, let's say, the quantity. The product photo, we'll grab the thumbnail photo, and we'll just execute this query, make sure it works okay, returning a little over 1,000 records. Select OK. The SQL gets pasted right in this text box here. And what it's going to do is it's going to generate a data set. So we can rename it right here if we want, but we don't have to, so we'll go ahead and leave it. Then we're going to choose a standard report, and we can add these are the fields that we selected, so we can add them to these different sections of the report. So I'm going to go ahead and just add these 4 to the details section. And I'm not going to go into some of these other sections in this video. These are I consider these to be a little bit more advanced topics. So maybe in a future webinar, I'll cover these. So let's go ahead and click next. We'll go ahead and leave the layout as stepped. I definitely want to adjust the report items to fit available space. What this will do is it'll just stretch the report items across the page so that they all fit in real nicely. They're all a uniform size, and this keeps you from having to resize them manually if you don't want to. But you definitely can do that if you want. You can definitely go in here and change some page settings, your margins, the paper size, whether you want portrait or landscape, that sort of thing. And then there's some built-in style sheets that you can choose to automatically style your reports. You can see the previews of them over here to the side. Some nice looking styles. I'll go ahead and choose Apex for this demo. And then the last page, you just review all the options you selected. Make sure everything is selected that you wanted. If not, you can go back. But if everything looks good, you just go ahead and click Finish. And you have a nice report generated. That was very easy. You didn't have to do any code. You didn't have to drag and drop anything on the page. You just went through the wizard and bam, you got a report. I like to point out that the component tray here at the bottom, some of the things that were generated from the wizard were added down here to the component tray. We have our data set and our data set table adapter, which were added here to the project as well. So let's go ahead and preview this and see what it looks like. So it's going to go ahead and compile again. And as you can see, it created a pretty nice looking report, 38 pages to be exact. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll also notice that it generated a page footer with standard date and page number output. You got a styled page and styled column titles. We have, go back into our designer, we have our data bound fields right here in the design section. And so pretty easy to get up and running very quickly with Telarix reporting tool. You can generate a report in no time. Like I said, you can go from not even having Telarix reporting installed on your machine to getting a report like this generated and deployed. And I'll show you how to deploy them soon. But you can go from no installation to a fully deployed report, and probably in like 10 minutes, if even. So it's very quick, very easy to use, and as you'll see momentarily, the designer is a pretty intuitive tool to use. So I'm going to kind of go through some of these the features of the designer right now. The first thing I want to point out is the Telarix reporting menu here at the top. So what you need to know about this is the menu is context sensitive. So if I've selected an item that is not a Telarix report, all I'll get is my upgrade wizard. And I'll go ahead and show you that real quick, the upgrade wizard. Like I said, this allows you to upgrade to new versions of the Telarix reporting tool, and it will go through and update all your assembly references for all your projects that you select over here. And then at the end, it will generate a report, telling you all of the products that were modified, any problems that occurred, and just a very handy tool for upgrading. Gotta love upgrade tools. Anything that makes the upgrade process as painless as possible is great in my book. But anyways, so we've got this report selector up here in the top left-hand corner of the report, and this is how you can select a report in many ways. You can just kind of click on the report and that'll select the report, but sometimes you'll have a lot of items in here. So if you need to select a report without worrying about bothering some of your report items that you've got in here, then you can just use the report selector here at the top left corner, and when the report is selected, you'll see that, oh, look at that, we've got quite a few more things in our in the Telarix reporting menu. So I'll go through these one by one. First, we've got the Report Explorer. You'll see that over here on my right, and what this does is it provides a kind of a list of all the items in the report, and this is really handy. I didn't realize how handy this was until I started working with more complex reports. But what happens is when you have a lot of items here in your report, some of them can start to overlap each other. Maybe I have several text boxes that are wrapped in a panel that are inside a very narrow design section, and I can't select the panel because every time I try, I'm selecting the text box. Well, I can go in here and into my Report Explorer and find the items in my report very easily and just click on them to select them. And then I can modify them as needed. So very easy if you're looking for an item, if you need to select something so that you can modify it quickly. Also a very cool way to just kind of see all of the items that are in your report. And as you'll notice, each item has an icon which next to it, which kind of gives a visual cue as to what that item is. So these are all textual items here that display textual data. So okay, so let's go ahead and select the report again, go up to the Telerik reporting menu, and let's look at the Data Explorer, another cool little tool over here to the right of my screen, which this basically displays all of the fields that are returned from your data source. So when we built our dataset, our AdventureWorks dataset table adapter, we selected these, we generated that SQL statement, selected these fields. So now we can use these to quickly and easily add items to the report. So depending on what I have selected, the section of the report I have selected, all I have to do is double click on an item and it gets tossed right in here into the report. It gets bound to that field so that it's just very quick and easy. You can also drag them in here if you want. Having a little issue. And so just another quick way to get some of the data from your data source into your report. And again, there are some icons next to them that provide kind of visual cues as to what the data types for these items are. So as you can see, we have name and product number, which are both string data, and then we have quantity and reorder point, which are numeric data, and then we have thumbnail photo, which is binary data as indicated by all the ones and zeros. And so let's see, what do we want to look at next? So you'll see around the edges of the designer there are rulers. Pretty handy, you know, in any designer to kind of get an idea for how big items or how large items are in your report. We have several items down here at the bottom of the report. Obviously we have the zoom, so we can zoom in really close or we can zoom out really far. Let's zoom into 200. One of my favorite parts of the designer is this cool little magnifying glass down here in the bottom. It's called the mini map. So you can click on that and just kind of drag around to any part of the page that you want to see. So if you're zoomed in real close, working real close on the report, you can just kind of drag around to view the part or the portion of the report that you need to get to. You can also use this pan tool to pan around to different sections of the report if you'd like. Let's go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. Next we've got the hide snap grid. So if you'll notice, we've got this kind of graph paper looking designer, which I talked about a couple minutes ago. We can turn that off if we want, so that those lines are hidden. If you feel like they're distracting, definitely you can turn those off. I prefer to leave them on. You'll notice that, let's zoom in a little bit so you can see this better. But you'll notice when you move things around, it snaps to those grid lines. Very helpful, very handy feature for positioning items kind of uniformly and making sure everything lines up, everything's straight. So definitely a handy feature. If you ever worked with other design tools like Photoshop or and you've used these kind of snap to grid features, you know that it's a very handy feature. So, but you can definitely turn that off. So we can turn off the snap to grid lines so that we're not snapping to the grid lines anymore. You'll notice that we're still snapping to something, and those that can be turned off by this button right here, the snap lines. And what the snap lines allow you to do is to not align your report items to the grid, but to align them to other items. So you can see I can line them up here with this text box here. I can come down here and align them either to the top of a text box or to the middle. And so that's a handy feature. But if you don't want to use that, if you want complete control, you can turn that off as well. And now you can kind of drag this around anywhere, and without any snap to grid or snap to snap lines on. But I'm going to go ahead and turn those back on because I really like that feature. You'll also notice another cool feature with the designer is if you place an item on top of another item. So if you're kind of hiding another item, you'll get this little warning message telling you, overlapping items may not appear as expected. So kind of giving you that visual cue, that warning, saying, hey, you may want to check this out. I don't know if you intended to do this or not. So you'll also notice that here each item in our report, when we select it, provides some size data. So you can see that like if I select this here, you get or let's hold on, let's zoom in a little bit better here to 200. We'll go ahead and pan down, and you'll see that this text box is 0.02 inches tall, 0.02 inches tall here. So you definitely have some size data that you can use to kind of help you in figuring out how big you want to make items. But you can turn that off using the ruler here. You can hide the dimensions with that. So some useful features down here at the bottom of the designer. So we'll go ahead and zoom back out here to, let's fit to screen. The next thing I want to talk about are the report sections. So there are several report sections that you can have. You can have page headers and footers, you can have report headers and footers, you can have group headers and footers, and then you can have the detail section. The only section that is required is the detail section. You can delete every other section in your report, but you can't delete the detail section. That is this middle section right here. And you can see these icons, if you hover over them, they tell you what section you're looking at. So this is the detail section. This is where the data is bound. So the data is bound to this section, and you can't delete it because obviously without that data, then we don't have a report. There's no point in generating these reports. So that's always got to be visible. However, the other sections can be turned off. So you can see here we have a page header. What the page header does is it displays at the top of every single page in your report. So if your report is 100 pages long, then this will be displayed at the top of all 100 pages. Similarly, the page footer will be displayed at the bottom of every page. Now, by contrast, the report header, which is this one right here, this is displayed once. It's displayed at the beginning of the report. So the report header is always displayed on the first page of the report after the page header. So you can see we've got the page header right above it. Likewise, the report footer is always displayed on the last page of the report right above the page footer. So we've got the page footer right here, and we don't have a report footer, but if we right click and head into our context menu, we can turn on the report footer just by selecting it. And so here we have the report footer, and it does appear right above the page footer. So we can go ahead and turn that back off by just selecting it in our context menu again, and we can turn any of these on and off that way. And lastly, we have our group headers and footers. So grouping is a more advanced feature, like I mentioned before, but it's pretty cool. So what it allows you to do is if you are, let's say we're connecting to the Northwind database and we're grabbing a list of all our products, and we want to group them by category name. Well, what it'll do is all of the beverages will get their own beverages header. That's what the group header is for. And if we want to add a beverages footer, that will be the footer will be generated at the bottom of the beverages list. So you can group your data in your reports, and you can provide headers and footers for your different groups. It kind of offers that delineation between the groups. But definitely we can add or remove those as we like. To be able to remove them from this report, we would first have to remove the labels group down here, and that would get rid of them. I'm not going to do that now, but just so you know, and if you want to add a new group, you go down here to the Add New Group item in your context menu. You would add a new expression. You can either provide one of the fields to use as your grouping field, or you can provide a custom expression using the expression wizard, which I'll show again here in a minute. But so those are the different sections of the report. And like I was showing you a moment ago, there's also this context menu. If you right click on the design surface, there's a context menu, allows you to do quite a few things. You can view the code behind. So if you want to add your own custom logic to the report, you can right click and view the code behind there. You can view different items that are normally found in the Telerik reporting menu, the data or report explorer. You can style your report. You can turn on or off some of the sections of your report. You can do grouping. You can go into the report parameters, sorting, filtering, conditional formatting, or you can head into the properties of the report over here to my right. So a lot of things that you can do there in the context menu. Heading over to the toolbox, there are several items that are provided out of the box as report items. Now we don't really like to call these controls because they're not really controls, they're just report items that get generated and displayed in a report. So what I'll do is I'll start from the bottom with the most used and most general item, the text box. We've already seen it here. Here, let's make this a little smaller so you can see them. All of our data fields are bound to these 4 text boxes here. And so after the text box, we have the subreport. The subreport is really cool because it allows you to embed a report inside of another report. So if you have a report that you want to insert into your report, you can do that with the subreport. And it doesn't have to use the same data source. So if you want to use a completely different data source, you can totally do it. If you wanted to create a report based on the AdventureWorks database, and then a subreport that shows data from the Northwind database, you can do that. I don't know why you would, but you can do that. So just a very cool report item that allows for some flexibility to add subreports to your reports. Now there's a shape item which allows you to display some visual primitive objects. So if I drag this onto the page here, you can see by going over to the properties window, there are quite a few shapes I can add. Some different lines, an ellipse, a triangle, square, stars, hexagon, arrows, etc., etc. So I can quickly and easily drag those onto my reports. We've got a picture box, which can be used to display image data. It can display most image formats, bitmaps, GIFs, PNGs, JPEGs, etc. And actually, I'll show that to you real quick. If we go over to our Data Explorer, remember we selected the thumbnail photo. So let's go ahead and get rid of one of these fields here and drag the thumbnail photo on. So you can see that now, when we go to the preview, let it generate the report really quick for us. Sometimes takes a minute, a lot of data. Even though it says no image available, that is actually an image that just says no image available. So it is displaying an image here. I can't remember exactly where. Here we go. Product images here on page 100. So you can see that we've got some images being displayed in the quantity column. Definitely not good example of a report, but a good example of how to use the picture box. Next, there's the panel report item. It can be used to group multiple report items together. So if you have kind of some related report items that you want to group together, you can wrap them in a panel. You have the checkbox, which, as most of you probably know, is used to bind to Boolean data. We have the chart. Chart lets you display your data in a really visually rich way. So you can connect it to a data source and display and configure your chart to display your data in a bar chart, a line chart, a Gantt chart, a pie chart. They're pretty much all the popular chart types are supported. And then last but not least, one of the newer items added to the Telerik reporting toolbox section is the barcode item. This is really cool. Binds to numeric data and allows you to generate barcodes. It supports quite a few formats. Let's see. Let's drag it over here and see all the different formats that it supports, or symbology, I guess would be the property name. But these are all the different symbology types that it reports. So if you've got I just call them all UPCs. But if you've got your barcode symbology format that you want to display it as, you can select that there, and you can bind your numeric data to a barcode. So pretty cool. You may have noticed when I was moving some of these items around that some of these that you can resize them very easily for here in the designer. So I can stretch them out. I can move them around very easily, and again, snapping to those grid lines or those snap lines. You might have noticed these little curve lines in the corner. I can actually rotate the data. So what wasn't clear to me at first until I actually tried it was I thought that this would rotate the text box. That is actually not the case. So what's happening here, you see it's just rotating the text. So it looks weird here in the designer, but let's check out what that looks like over here in our preview. And gotta let it build here for a second. And as you can see, our data is rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. So, so just cool ways that you can come in here and very easily make changes to the way your report items are displayed. So, one more thing I want to show you, or two more things actually, in the designer is docking and anchoring. So if I select an item and I come over here to my properties window, I can use this cool feature called docking, which some of you WinForms developers may be familiar with. And if I want to dock it to the bottom of this section, all I do is click the bottom dock option, and it docks it here to the bottom. So if I move this section at all, or if I resize it, it will always be down here at the bottom. Similarly, I can tell it to fill out the entire section so that it stretches out to fill the entire section. And what docking does is basically just allows it to stretch to fill out a certain portion of the section that it contains. Similarly, anchor is a similar feature, but behaves kind of in a different way. What it allows you to do is to anchor it in place. So let's say I've positioned my text box here, and I want that no matter how this section is sized, so if it's smaller, if it's narrower, I always want it to be in the same distance from the bottom of this section here. Then I'll go ahead and anchor it to the bottom. And if I want it to always be the same distance from the right of the page, I'll anchor it to the side. So that now, if I come in here and I resize my section, you'll see that the text box here gets dragged along with it, and it's always the same distance from the bottom and side, or the sections that it's anchored to. So anyways, that's the designer, kind of a quick and dirty overview of a quick tour of what the designer experience is like in the Telerik reporting tool. There's a lot you can do. I know I kind of went through it really quickly, but I barely really scratched the surface to all the really rich features that are available here in the designer, and all the things you can do with these features. So, but in the interest of time, I want to move right along and show you a couple more demos. Time's really getting away from me here. So I definitely want to try to get through some demos quickly before we run out of too much time. So I'll go ahead and add another report, and let's call this, we'll use Northwind now, so we'll call this Northwind product report. And what I'm going to do is show you how to bind to data in two different ways. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of the wizard, I don't want to use that, and I don't remember if I showed you or not, but when you're in the report, if you cancel out of the wizard, it doesn't mean that you can't use the wizard again. You can definitely go up to the reporting menu and launch the report wizard again and go through it. So it's always available. The only thing to know about the report wizard is if you launch the report wizard again after you've already kind of formatted a report somewhat, then you're going to lose all of the formatting that you've done to your report. It's going to basically regenerate the report. So definitely only start the wizard. Well, it doesn't matter if you start it, but definitely only go through and finish the wizard if you want to totally regenerate your report. So we'll go ahead and close out of that. I'm going to show you first how to bind to data manually. Um, in the Telerik reporting, the data source property is a property that you assign your data to, and it can be assigned data of any type that implements four different interfaces: the IEnumerable interface, the iList source, the iTyped list, or the IDB data adapter interface. So long as your objects or your components are implementing those interfaces, then they will work with Telerik reporting. Telerik reporting does not have its own data layer. It relies completely on .NET objects, data sets, data tables, lists and collections, and so forth. And so the cool thing about that is it's not tightly integrated to a specific data store, like, again, going back to reporting services tied to SQL Server. If you have a MySQL database and you're pulling data from MySQL, wrapping it in some CLR objects, you can definitely bind it to Telerik reports. So it makes it very easy. Makes a Telerik reporting tool a very flexible tool for binding to your data. So let me go ahead and show you how to bind to data manually. I'm not going to make a pretty report here. I just want to kind of demonstrate the data binding feature. So pardon my design skills; they are definitely lacking. But I'm going to go over to my properties. So we're not running any wizard here, or at least we're not running the report wizard. I'm going to go over to my properties, and in my data source dropdown, I'm going to go to add project data source. Now this you might recognize from the reporting wizard. It just launches the data source configuration wizard portion of that experience. So all we're going to do here is go through a couple of wizard windows to design or to define our data source. So we'll go ahead and choose a database, and this time I'm going to use Northwind. Go ahead and call it Northwind Connection. And because I hate using the query builder, I just loathe using it, and I'm not the best at T-SQL. Maybe some of you are T-SQL gurus out there. That's not me. I use LinkPad, so I don't know if any of you are familiar with LinkPad. It's a great tool, and I'm going to show you why here in just a minute. Let me maximize this, and I'm going to go choose the Northwind database here in LinkPad. And I love writing link queries. I'm pretty good in C#, and I'm pretty good with link. So instead of writing T-SQL, I think I'll write a link query, and I'll show you how it's going to work here in just a minute. So let's go from P and products, select new, product equals P dot product name, category equals P dot category name, price equals P dot unit price, units equals P dot units in stock, and reorder level equals P dot reorder level. You can go ahead and run this query to see the results from our database. Hey, that looks like the kind of data I want to put in my report. So I'll jump right here to this SQL button, and look at all the SQL that link statement generated. I think I'll just grab that and paste it right in here. And there, I've got my SQL statements. I'll go ahead and click Finish. And so just kind of a cool tip to show you how to another way that you can go and get your grab your data from the database. Since I'm not a big fan of writing T-SQL, anyways. So once we've done that, we can go ahead and drag some text boxes here to the page and bind them to the data that we've just brought in from our data source. So let's just for the sake of time here, I'm not going to bring them all in. I'm just going to bring a couple in. We'll say the product and the category. So let's go ahead and preview this. And there's our products and categories. And so that's just one way to bind data to your reports um, in the Telerik Reporter, or in the Telerik reporting tool. So the last data binding demo I want to give real quick will show you how to bind to data manually or from code, and I'm actually going to show you how to use Link to SQL with Telerik Reporting. So Telerik Reporting is built with .NET 2.0, so you can't really drop in a Link to SQL data source and use that to bind your data. However, because all it relies on are the our .NET objects to bind to your data source, you can programmatically go out, grab an instance of a Link to SQL data context object and perform your link queries, and then just since that returns an IEnumerable, you can just bind that to the data source of the report. So you can easily still use Link to SQL or Link to Entities in your report. So I'll go ahead and create a new report. I'll call it Northwind orders report. Don't want to use the wizard. I'm going to go add a Link to SQL class. Call it Northwind. Okay, get rid of that. Go over to my Server Explorer, and in Northwind I'm going to drag the customers table, the order details table. I'll go ahead and rename that, and the orders table. And I will compile, and I'm done with that. Then I'm going to jump back into my code behind, and this is where I will bind the data to the report. So I'll grab an instance of the Northwind data context. I'll perform a simple link query to grab all the orders from my Northwind data context. So we'll say from OD in Northwind.order details, select new, and let's see, what do we want to grab? I want to grab the company name. Oops. So from OD dot, I always forget this. Need to import the system.link namespace so that we can use link. So the company name we'll get from order details dot order dot customer dot customer name or dot company name. We'll grab the order date, order dot order date. We'll grab the quantity ordered from od.quantity, and finally the price, which equals the unit price times, and this is important, I'm going to do a quick cast here, the discount. So we need to make sure we account for, if you're familiar with Northwind database, we need to make sure we account for the unit price and the discount. So, so that's our link query. That'll return a collection of these custom objects, of this new object that I've created, and I'll say this dot data source equals orders, and that's all I need to do here in the code behind to get to pull my data in. So let's go ahead and add a few things here to the report designer. I'm going to add a few text boxes, add them all at once. You can double click to add them really quickly. This one here will be total. We'll stretch this out. This will be the price. We'll call this one quantity. So right now we're in the header, and we're just kind of adding some of the column headers to our data, or for our data. We'll have the order date, and then finally drag a new text box in and add the company name. So now we'll add a few more text boxes here to the page. We'll go ahead and bind it to the company, the company field. The order date field. Add a couple more really quickly here. Resize them. So here we've got quantity and price, and then total. Now you'll remember, if you remember correctly, total wasn't a property that we were returning in our object. So let's go down here to expressions. I could have typed this in there at the text box, but I just want to show you the expression designer. And so basically what I'm going to do is multiply quantity by unit price. And click OK, and that'll give me a total here in my last column. So pretty simple report. What I want to do, let's see, what I want to do next is the total and the price. We want to offer, or we want to provide a format to those. Those are both currency formats, so we'll go ahead and offer, or set a currency format to those. The quantity is numeric, so we'll go ahead and leave it there. Order date, I'm going to add a format to that, so we'll use a date time format, and we'll just choose something simple. And then I can select multiple items by clicking and holding Control and clicking multiple items. If I want to style them all at once and give them all the same style, I can use my context menu, or I can head over to my properties window, choose style, and let's say I want to give them a background of, I'm going to go with sky blue. Now they all have the same background. If I want to give my entire report the same style, I just click out into the report here, click style, and let's change the font to Verdana, and you can see the font changed there. So so some pretty cool stuff, pretty cool features that you can use to format and style your reports. One of the cool things about the Telerik reporting tool is that it offers some very CSS-like styling capabilities. So so if you're used to styling, websites, then this is going to be completely natural to you. So let's add another text box, and you've already seen kind of how to add page numbers and things to a page. Let me go ahead and stretch this out to the width of the entire page, and I'm going to go to my expression wizard, and I want to display at the bottom of every page the aggregate total, the sum of all totals for all records. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my functions here, which are available to me. I'm going to go and use the system.string.format function, and I'm going to say total sales, and I'm going to provide I'm going to give it a currency format, and then I'm going to provide a method in here, one of these aggregate methods, sum. So I'll go ahead and click that, and it'll add that in, and I'm going to sum the price times the quantity, and I'll click OK. So I'll add that there. We'll go ahead and give it its own style as well. This time, instead of using the color drop down, we'll use the color picker. I'll choose, let's choose yellow. Click OK. And if I want to center the text, I'll go and, let's see, where's my, I need to go into my style and text align, center, and let's go and take a look and see what this looks like. So it's generating, and there we have our report. It's not real pretty, but it's, well, let's see, something's going on here. We didn't get our total price. That's okay. That's okay. We can go look at that a little later. In the interest of time, let's just move along. But you see my total sales. Wow, that's quite a lot. AdventureWorks does a lot of business, 1.2 million. But that's displayed here at the bottom. So, so very cool designer experience. It only took me a couple of minutes to do this, and I'm not a designer at all. So if you are a designer, I'm sure that you can make this look very beautiful. You can work wonders and make beautiful reports. All I know is how to get the data into the report, so I would need someone else to design it for me. But you can definitely do a lot to add some rich styles, some rich designs using all of these report items over here in the toolbox, and again all the styles that are available to you here in the designer, all the styling capabilities are available to you in the designer. So one last thing I want to do that I want to show you before we kind of wrap up the demos here is I want to show you how to deploy these reports. So I'm going to add a new project, add a Windows Forms application, call it Client, and let's make it the form a little bit bigger, and go ahead and minimize some of these. And here in our Telerik reporting toolbox, we have a report viewer control. So I'll add that in, go to my properties, and see if I can find the doc. Yep, I'll go ahead and stretch that to fill the whole page. Before I run this, I definitely want to go and add a reference to my report library. Visual Studio is being a little sluggish on me. There we go, projects, report library. Kind of get that in here. Let's build this project, or build a solution. All right, then we'll go in the report viewer and scroll down in our properties, and we'll go to the report drop down and we'll select the report that we want to add. So let's go ahead and add the orders report that we just generated. I'll go set this as the startup project, run it, and you'll see it might be a little confusing here at first, but you'll notice that no report, you don't see any report here in the viewer. Well, it's because you need to refresh the data. There we go. And we see our my beautiful report here in a WinForms application. Now, if you want to get around the problem of it not displaying right away, then you can just kind of go into the code behind, and in the constructor add call the report viewer one dot refresh report method. Hit F5 again, and you'll see that now we don't have to hit the refresh button. It does it automatically for us right off the bat. So so very easy to get your report into a WinForms app, but let's go ahead and see what it looks like in an ASP.NET app. So we'll minimize that. We'll go add a new project, add a web application, just call it Site. And first thing I'm going to do is add a reference to the report library. And we'll go into Design View. As much as I'd love to show off all of our rad controls for ASP.NET Ajax, I won't be tempted. So I'll just go into the Telerik reporting toolbox and drag a report viewer on the page. And similar to how we did it in WinForms, I will select it, go down and select my report. And let's go ahead and build the project first. So make sure that assembly gets dropped. We have an error. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and add a reference to that assembly that they say we are missing. Let's see. Telerik.reporting.processing. Let's make sure we're grabbing the right one. That looks like it. Let's go ahead and recompile. All right, no errors. That's what I like to see. We'll wait for Visual Studio. All right, so now let's go back into properties. Go and select our report. and we'll just display a simpler report this time, just the product list. So we'll run this. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to change the startup project. So let me go back into Solution Explorer and do that. Set this as the startup project. Hit run again. Modify the web.config. All the necessary steps we web developers have to go through. And wait for our site to generate. And our report is generated automatically in an ASP.NET report viewer. And let's wait for it to generate. Things are moving a little slow today. So after this, while we're waiting for this, I'm gonna wrap up here pretty soon. We're kind of running out of time. I want to give you just kind of a quick recap of what we talked about today, and talk to you about what's new, what's coming in Q3 2008. And let's go ahead and see if we can refresh this and get it. See what's going on. Some things that you can look forward to in Q1 2009 for reporting. There's several new items that are coming out in Q1 2009 and beyond. First, we have our new mail merge support, which is basically it enables you to get and insert data-driven information directly into your text box report items. So you can produce more customized reports. We're also going to have an HTML text box report item. It'll enable developers to insert HTML formatted text into a report. Kind of a cool feature. Also, we're working very hard on crosstab support, crosstab implementation. We realize that is a vital part of any reporting solution. Crosstabs gives viewers the ability to display data in a matrix format and kind of analyze the relationship between two or more fields simultaneously. So very important. So we're working on that, and I am not sure why this report is taking so long. So as you can see, Visual Studio is just running really slow on me. Man, it's crawling. It's probably because I've got way too many things running at once. But anyways, suffice it to say, the report viewer works in ASP.NET. The main thing I wanted you to take away from this demo was that we created a class library here called Report Library. We generated our reports in the class library. We only had to create them once, and then we were able to reference them in a WinForms app and an ASP.NET app and use them in either of those. So we can use the same report for whatever platform we need it. So very flexible. The Telerik reporting tool is very flexible to allow us to just kind of package our reports into assembly and then just send them out to whatever client we want. So very, very cool feature. So anyways, let's head back into the slides here. And so looking forward, I was like I was talking to you, or like I was talking about a moment ago, we have the HTML text box, mail merge, crosstab support, and my favorite. I think this is the coolest feature. I know some of these other features some people may find more important, but I think the report book is a cool sounding feature. It's basically it gives you the ability to combine many reports into a single report instance. So remember how I talked about at the beginning, that's typically not possible for you to have some data being displayed on one page and then different data on another page. Well, technically that's not what we're doing. We're just taking two reports and combining them into the same document. So if your boss wants to see, a sales report and some expenditures report, but he doesn't want to have to, to open up two different reports to see all that data. Well, you can use the report book to merge them together and keep their respective styles, and so that the boss can view all that data in one single document. So kind of a cool new feature that's coming out, hopefully in Q1 2009, which you can expect to see in a few weeks at the end of February. So to wrap up. I think we all agree, or we probably wouldn't be here, that reporting is it's a very important tool. Reporting tools are very important to businesses. They help us transform that data that businesses collect into the knowledge that can be used um, to make the to add to the decision making process so that the right decisions are being made given the right data. Telerik makes reporting very easy for you with an intuitive and easy to use reporting tool. Definitely a familiar development environment. We all are used to Visual Studio, hopefully. And but as you can see, and I can't stress this enough, it's just so easy to go from not even having Telerik reporting installed on your machine, install it in 5 minutes, run the wizard, connect to a database. 5 minutes later, you've got a full and nicely styled report without having to touch any code, without having to touch anything. And you can just drop that in a WinForms or an ASP.NET application, and you're good to go. Of course, there are lots and lots of options for you to customize your reports. The tool, while it's very easy to use, is still very powerful, still very full featured, and we're adding more and more features every day. So definitely head out to Telerik.com to check out the roadmap for Telerik reporting, because we've got a lot of great things on the horizon. And I think you'll agree that the Telerik reporting tool, while it is great now, it's going to be even greater in the future. So if you're already using Telerik reporting, send us your feedback. We love to hear what kind of features you want to see. If you're not using it, definitely go pick up a trial. The trial assemblies aren't time bombed. You can use them as long as you want, and all it does is it displays some extra text in your report saying it's a trial, so it's not really good to use in a production environment. But definitely you can use it for free for as long as you want to play around with it to see if this is the right fit for you. Not every reporting solution is the right fit for every business or for every developer, but Telerik reporting is the right fit for a lot of people. So definitely go try it out and let us know what you think. So here are some resources that you can go and check out if you want to learn more. Telerik.com/product/reporting. That's where you can find demos, samples, roadmaps, news, etc., any kind of resource you want. Go to my blog at blogs.telerik.com/Kevin Babcock. I'll be posting answers to your questions after this webinar. I'll be posting them there. Also go to tv.telerik.com, where a newly launched portal site for all of our video training resources. Site's called Telerik TV, and it's growing daily with new videos. This webinar will be up there probably by the end of the week, so you can view it again if you need to reference some of the material we covered. And then, of course, Telerik's relatively new tool and very unique tool, the Telerik Trainer. You can get that at telerik.com/support/trainer, and then go to the reporting page to view all of the Telerik Trainer reporting videos. There are 8 videos there, very high quality videos. The Telerik Trainer kind of meshes the learning experience, the video learning experience, with Visual Studio to create a very unique learning experience. So I highly recommend at least go and check it out and see what it's about, especially if you want to learn more about reporting. I think you'll find it to be a very rich learning experience. So okay, I'm sorry we went a little late. I've got probably 5, maybe 10 minutes for some questions if you've got any. If your question doesn't get answered, don't fret. Like I said, if you just go to my blog, I'll go back and display that page. If you go back to my blog in the next day or two, I'll post an answer to every question that I receive. And if you don't have questions, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Again, I apologize about the scheduling conflicts last week. Unavoidable. Boy, that was a miserable day for me, and I'm sure it wouldn't have been a fun webinar experience for you had I tried to go forward with it. But I'm glad you came back today, and I hope you've enjoyed the content. So I'd like to open it up for just a few minutes for some questions if you've got any. So let's see. Let me scroll through some of them here. See, we've got a question. I've looked at online examples of various Telerik report layouts, but I don't see basic report examples. Tabular layouts of traditional financial reports. Do you have examples of these types of reports? There are a ton of report examples online. If you didn't find what you want, definitely Definitely post to the forums. Send us some feedback because we're always we kind of base our plans on our customer feedback here at Telerik. We're big on listening to you guys and trying to provide what you guys want. So if you're not seeing the examples that you want, shoot me an email. Drop me a comment on my blog and tell me, hey, I want to see this kind of example. Can you show me how to do this? Or um, drop a question in the forums. Typically, you'll get an answer within a day or two. Um, and then, like I said, definitely go check out some of those videos, the Telerik Trainer videos, or the videos on Telerik TV. I think you might find a lot of your questions answered there. So let's see. Any other questions? Got quite a few here. I'm not going to do a demo with the graph chart. Advanced features. Like I said, this is a kind of a 101 webinar. I will be doing more webinars in the future. I recommend coming back and checking those out because I'll be covering a lot more advanced features using the chart, for example, doing some grouping, doing some sorting, those sorts of things. Let's see. Is Visual Studio the only report design environment available? So here's a question from someone saying, is Visual Studio the only report design environment available? If so, how does that work out for non-developer business users? Also, is there a way to build reports via the web? Actually, we do have plans for a designer tool that can be deployed in an ASP.NET site. So if you're not a developer, have your developers use our designer component to build a quick website for you that allows you to design on the web. So that's definitely coming. So good question, and we're excited about that as well. I don't have any specific dates for when that's going to come, but definitely keep an eye on the roadmap. Let's see. Kevin, I noticed you dragged an image onto the form. Is that image showing binary data from a database? If not, is it showing a file path? No, it is showing the binary data from that example I showed you was from the AdventureWorks database, and it was pulling the binary data from the AdventureWorks database and displaying the image there. It wasn't showing some file reference path or anything. It was showing the actual binary data. So let's see. Are you planning a release for Silverlight? Yes, again, that's on the roadmap for the future. We are planning to provide reporting solutions providing reporting solutions that work in Silverlight and WPF. Again, keep an eye on the roadmap, and you'll find more details about that. Where was LinkPad? Do a quick Google search on LinkPad, and you can download that. You probably find it pretty easily. Very nice demo, thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Export features. Yeah, I didn't, you know what, if people are going to stick around, let me jump back into Visual Studio and set this as the startup project. Someone asked about export features. I should have shown that when I was showing the the report viewer here. Just like that in there. Okay, so I'll come back to the questions in a moment. But so here you see the report viewer in a WinForms app, and somebody asked about exporting. So oh man, no wonder it takes a long time. Look at all these pages it's generating. Is it ever going to stop? I don't know. Man, maybe I should have chosen a different data to generate a report from. This is a lot of pages. I guess this is probably why I was having so much trouble displaying it in the ASP.NET site too. All right, 392 pages. Wow. So yeah, export, simple. Look, the report viewer, just click on this drop down. You can export it to Acrobat, CSV, Excel, rich text, TIFF, or a web archive. So definitely exporting is easy. You don't have to do anything. It's already built in. So just save it however you want it. Got some printing built in too. To click the print button, you can print it to whatever printers you have set up. So very cool. And if you're running your reports here in the report viewer, and let's say you've had it open for a while and you think the data may have changed, you can of course click the refresh button and it'll regenerate the report. I'll go ahead and close back out of that. So let's see. Do you plan to have another webinar after this one? Oh, good question. I do. Not sure when it is. Definitely keep an eye out on my blog or Telerik.com, the homepage. We always announce our webinars there. I plan on doing a couple of reports here in the next couple of months. Next month, at the end of this month, at the release of Q1 2009, we're going to have an entire week full of webinars where we highlight all the new features and all the products. So keep an eye out for the day when I will be doing a reporting webinar talking about all the new features in the reporting tool for Q1 2009. Beyond that, I definitely have some plans for doing more advanced features in Telerik reporting. I also plan to deliver a webinar on our new product, Open Access ORM. It's a very cool new ORM tool that comes packaged in with the Telerik bundle. So if you already have a bundle license, then you've got it for free. So definitely check that out. But you always just go to my blog, blogs.telerik.com/Kevin Babcock, or head over to telerik.com, and on the home page there will always be an announcement for the next webinar. So for example, this Thursday is a regular time for webinars, for our weekly webinars. This Thursday, another Telerik evangelist, John Keller, will be doing a webinar discussing the RAD grid view for WPF. So let's see. I think I'll answer one more question, and then we'll go ahead and let you all go. Thanks for the excellent intro. You're welcome. Can I convert from SQL Server Reporting Services 2008? There is currently no, we don't have any support for converting from SQL Server Reporting Services right now. As you're aware, SQL Server Reporting Services is an extremely full-featured reporting solution. It's a huge application, or it's a huge product, and providing a wizard to convert reports from SQL Server Reporting Services to the Telerik reports would be a pretty huge task. I'm not sure if I'll have to ask the product team. I'm not sure if that's something that's on the roadmap or not. I really don't know the answer to that. But as of right now, we don't have any mechanism to convert from SQL reporting services. So, okay, that's it, folks. We're way out of time, but thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. Definitely, if your question didn't get answered, don't worry. It will be answered in the next day or two. I will take all the questions this evening, and I'll start answering them, and I'll post a document to my blog. So if you want your answers to your questions, take a look at my blog, blogs.telerik.com/Kevin Babcock, and you'll get your answers. So again, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and have a great day.